Chosen one, heaven has paused everything for this moment. You are not here by accident. You did not stumble onto this word by luck. The timing is too perfect, the stirring in your heart too deep to be coincidence. God Himself designed this intersection between your weary heart and His living message. Every event, every delay, every unanswered prayer was guiding you here to this divine interruption. Listen carefully. The Father whispers, I risked it all so you could see this. He risked allowing you to question, to wander, even to feel abandoned because He knew the hunger that would be born from your pain would become the doorway to your awakening. You thought the silence was punishment, but it was preparation. You mistook stillness for distance, but heaven was closer than ever. You were being shaped for something beyond comprehension. This is not just another inspirational message. This is heaven speaking your name. You have been hiding your light, shrinking your voice, fearing your own calling. But that ends tonight. The winds of destiny are shifting. Creation recognizes you, chosen one. The earth itself has been groaning, waiting for the sons and daughters of glory to rise, and that includes you. You are not average. You are an instrument of divine strategy. Every scar you carry is a mark of survival, proof that purpose still burns inside you. You remember the nights you cried alone, the moments no one saw when the weight felt unbearable. But even then, God was watching, not as a distant observer, but as a loving father holding your destiny steady through the storm. You didn't lose yourself. You were being refined. Every closed door, every painful goodbye was heaven's way of preserving your purity for the promise. The enemy tried to bury you under shame, but God was planting you in purpose. Chosen one, understand this heaven's silence was not neglect, it was trust. God risked letting you walk through confusion because He knew the flame in you would not die. He saw that even in despair, your heart still turned toward Him. That kind of loyalty cannot be learned through ease. It is forged in fire. You are the evidence of God's endurance and grace. You feel it now, the stirring in your chest, the warmth in your spirit, the whisper that says, it's time. The heavens are shifting. The spiritual weight pressing on you is not oppression, it's the glory of activation. Your calling is awakening, and your destiny is demanding attention. You have been in the background long enough. Now heaven pulls you forward. And yes, there was risk. The Almighty risked the cross, risked rejection, risked silence, because His love for you outweighed the cost. He allowed Himself to be misunderstood, beaten, crucified just so you could live in freedom. That is what He means when He says, I risked it all so you could see this. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 13. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. These words are not suggestion, they are revelation. Heaven is saying, I have always been findable, you just needed the fire of desperation to truly seek. Every trial that brought you to this point was guiding you toward that moment of recognition. So, lift your eyes, chosen one. The season of obscurity is over. The fog is lifting. The voice of God is clear again. You are being summoned to remember who you are, a vessel of light, a warrior of truth, a carrier of divine authority. Everything you lost will be restored in a higher form. Everything you feared is now fuel for your faith. Before you scroll away, pause. Let heaven witness your agreement. If this word resonates deep within you, type 777 in the comments as a prophetic act of recognition. Then like, share, and subscribe not as a ritual, but as obedience. When you do, you become a voice helping others find this same divine interruption. You become a torchbearer of revelation. Heaven has spoken. The risk has already been taken. The message has found you. Now all creation waits for your yes. You remember the hidden years, don't you? Chosen one. The years when you felt invisible, when your prayers echoed back like unanswered letters in the dark, when you served faithfully but saw no fruit, when you hoped fiercely but the horizon remained still. You wondered if heaven had misplaced your name. Yet it was in those years, those quiet, seemingly empty stretches of time that God was doing his deepest work. Heaven hides what it values most. You were not forgotten. You were preserved. God tucked you away, not because you were unready to shine, but because the world was unready to receive you. He was shaping your capacity to carry weight without collapsing under it. You thought the stillness was punishment, but it was protection. Every delay was shielding you from premature exposure, every detour guarding the purity of your purpose. While others raced toward recognition, God invited you into refinement. You learned what it means to be faithful without applause, to obey without understanding, to stand without visible support. The hidden years became your furnace and your foundation. The fire purified you, stripping away dependence on validation, until your faith stood on nothing but trust. Those who have walked through silence carry a different kind of strength. It's quiet, steady, and unshakable. You can recognize heaven's whispers because you've lived through heaven's hush. You know that even in absence, God is active. Even when you see nothing, He's building everything. How many times did you cry out, "God, where are you?" And how many times did you survive without realizing that your survival itself was His answer? You were never abandoned. You were being anointed. Oil doesn't flow without crushing. Diamonds don't shine without pressure. The version of you emerging now could only be born from obscurity. It is in the hidden places that destiny matures. The soil is dark, but it is holy. The womb of waiting protects what will one day change worlds. You were buried, not to die, but to germinate. Heaven planted you deep so your roots could reach water that others can't access. You've grown in silence, and now your fruit will speak. There's a rhythm to divine timing. Heaven moves like tides. Sometimes God speaks loudly through miracles, but other times, He shapes quietly through monotony. You have lived through the latter. You have learned to recognize His fingerprints in ordinary days. And now, that sensitivity will guide you into your next chapter. The voice of God thundered in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. These are not empty assurances. They are eternal truths written for the hidden ones. Even when you felt forgotten, He was standing beside you. Even when you couldn't hear Him, He was guiding your every step. The silence was never proof of absence, it was evidence of trust. You see, chosen one, God hides those He intends to reveal with power. The hiding season is the highest compliment heaven can give, because it means your purpose is too great to be wasted on premature stages. While others saw delay, heaven saw preparation. While others thought you were stuck, heaven was setting your stage. And in that stage of silence, you learned something sacred: to depend not on what you feel, but on what you know. You know His nature. Even when you can't trace His hand, you know His faithfulness. Even when you can't predict His timing, you know His goodness. Even when your surroundings look barren, that kind of knowing, tested, tried, and proven, is the hallmark of the chosen. Now you stand on the edge of unveiling. The same God who led you into silence is the one calling you out of it. You are emerging stronger, deeper, wiser. You carry the weight of revelation, the authority of survival, the fragrance of perseverance. What once looked like stillness was really strategy. Heaven was aligning everything so that when the door opened, you'd be ready to walk through it with confidence. Look at you now, still standing, still believing, still burning. That's not coincidence, that's calling. You have been forged in the fire of waiting, and now your time of revealing draws near. The hidden years are ending. The light is about to find you. But even when the spotlight comes, never forget the sanctity of the shadows that made you. It was there, in silence and surrender, that you met God not as an idea, but as an ever-present companion. And that truth, chosen one, is the foundation that will sustain every miracle that follows. Chosen one. You have carried more than most. The weight on your shoulders has not been random, it has been assignment. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every sleepless night has been part of your spiritual training. You have walked through valleys that others could not survive, and yet here you are, still standing. You carry the residue of heaven's endurance on your soul. What broke others only built you. You were not born into ease, because easy never creates endurance. You were sent to break patterns, to shift bloodlines, to rewrite generational stories. That is why your warfare has been heavier, because your calling is higher. God trusted you with battles that would have crushed ordinary souls. He saw in you the resilience to survive what was meant to silence. You have been shaped by pressure, refined by rejection, and strengthened by storms. When others walked away from you, it was heaven's hand separating noise from necessity. When the people you helped turned against you, it was divine pruning, God cutting away the branches that could no longer sustain your growth. Every betrayal was a reminder your destiny does not depend on human loyalty. It depends on divine ordination. There were nights when you questioned why you had to endure so much. You looked at others and thought, why does their path seem easier? But chosen one, you were never designed for comfort. You were crafted for impact, and impact demands pressure. Diamonds form only when coal endures crushing. Gold shines only after refinement. Every wound became a portal for more glory to flow through you. And when you felt abandoned, when you whispered into the darkness, God, I can't carry this anymore, heaven whispered back. You were never meant to carry it alone. Every time you broke, God rebuilt you stronger. Every time you fell, grace pulled you higher. You are not fragile, you are fortified. You are learning that spiritual weightlifting is not about avoiding pain, but about allowing pain to reveal power. You didn't just survive those storms, you absorbed divine strength through them. The tears you cried became oil, the confusion became clarity, and the wounds became weapons. What once drained you now drives you. You've discovered that the same hands that broke you are the hands that bless you. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Those words are more than comfort, they are revelation. Heaven weighs suffering differently. What you called unbearable, God called preparation. What you thought was punishment was actually proportion. He was matching the weight of your pain with the measure of your purpose. And that's why the enemy fought so hard to break you, because even hell knows what you carry. You have something within you that terrifies darkness. The very fact that you're still breathing is evidence that God's hand never left you. You've been hit, bruised, misunderstood, but not destroyed. The fire didn't consume you. It only confirmed that there is something inside you that can't be burned. Chosen one. You must understand this now. The pain you carried is sacred. It became the channel through which compassion, wisdom, and discernment now flow. Your scars are sermons. Your silence became a song of endurance that heaven still hears. There's a reason others come to you for strength. It's because you carry the fragrance of survival. You've touched darkness and lived to tell the story. You've met despair and learned its language, only to translate it into hope. You are a carrier of weighty revelation. You understand that God never wastes pain. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every delay is recycled by heaven into purpose. You didn't lose years. You gained wisdom. You didn't lose people. You gained purity. You didn't lose yourself. You found the version of you that fear could no longer manipulate. And now, as you begin to step forward, heaven begins to shift around you. The pressure is lifting because the purpose is rising. You are walking lighter because what was once burden is now authority. What was once confusion is now clarity. You no longer question the process, you bless it. You no longer resent the fire, you thank it. Because now you know what the refining was for. Every weight you carried was prophetic training. You were learning to hold glory without dropping it. The heaviness that once made you cry will soon make you shine. The things that tried to bury you will become the soil for miracles. The cross you carried privately will become the crown you wear publicly. And in this moment, as the Spirit stirs within you, I want you to anchor this truth. Speak it out loud, write it down, or declare it boldly in the comments below. Type "I rise again." Because that declaration is not just words, it's warfare. It's you agreeing with heaven's perspective. It's you announcing to every force of darkness that the crushing did not destroy you, it crowned you. Heaven's gamble. Those are not just poetic words, chosen one. They carry the weight of divine risk, the holy tension between God's sovereignty and your freedom. Think about it, the creator of the universe, who spoke galaxies into existence with a whisper, chose to wait on your yes. He risked the silence, your confusion, even your rebellion, because he knew there was a moment in time when your spirit would awaken and remember. That is love in its most dangerous form. Love that risks rejection for the chance of redemption. God could have forced obedience, but love never manipulates. He could have scripted your every move, but he wanted partnership, not puppetry. He risked letting you wander so that your return would be real, not robotic. Every unanswered question, every season of doubt, was heaven betting on your destiny that somewhere deep within, you would still respond to his call. You see, chosen one. Heaven's gamble was never about chance, it was about trust. God trusted his own workmanship in you. He placed eternity in your heart and then waited, knowing that even if you strayed, the pull of divine DNA would lead you home. That's why you've never been able to walk too far away from his voice. Even in your darkest rebellion, there was a whisper tugging at your conscience. Even in moments of compromise, grace kept intercepting destruction. You've been pursued by a love that refuses to quit. There were times you thought you ruined it, that you went too far, made too many mistakes. Yet even in those moments, heaven's eyes didn't turn away. God risked letting you feel distance so you would learn to value presence. He allowed you to walk through dry places not to punish you, but to make you thirst for living water. The wilderness was not rejection, it was revelation. What kind of God would take such a risk? Only the kind who loves recklessly, who would rather be wounded by your freedom than loved through force. He let you experience the world's noise so you could appreciate his stillness. He let you taste the wrong paths so you would recognize the right one by contrast. He risked your misunderstanding because he saw beyond it. He knew that when the moment came, your heart would remember the voice that created it. And that's what's happening now. You're remembering, not with your mind, but with your spirit. Every time you feel that stirring, that inner pull to return, that's heaven collecting on its gamble. That's God saying, "See, I knew you would come back." The risk was always worth it because your restoration would reveal His glory. The apostle wrote in the letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose." Those words describe heaven's wager perfectly. God took everything, your victories, your mistakes, your silence, your storms, and wove them into a design only grace could imagine. What looked like failure was really the framework of redemption. What looked like chaos was choreography. You have to understand this. Chosen one, heaven's gamble was not careless. It was calculated love. God saw the whole story from the beginning. He knew the detours and still chose the destination. He saw the tears and still promised triumph. He knew the pain and still declared purpose. That is the nature of divine confidence. He bet everything on you because He knew He could not lose what He created with eternity in mind. Every time you survived what should have destroyed you, that was proof that heaven's risk was paying off. Every time you felt conviction after compromise, that was evidence that the Spirit still had access to your heart. Every time you felt like running but couldn't, that was mercy intercepting your flight. And even now, heaven watches with pride. The angels who saw you stumble also see you standing. The same God who allowed the fall is the one empowering your rise. Nothing was wasted, not the confusion, not the heartbreak, not the silence. Every bit of it has been woven into the tapestry of a story that will one day heal others. Heaven's gamble teaches us that love is never safe, but it is always sure. God risked His own reputation on humanity, risked His own heart on your freedom, and risked His Son on your salvation. He risked it all, and He calls that risk worth it. Because every time one of His chosen ones wakes up, every time a heart turns back, every time a soul says, "I remember," the gamble becomes glory. Chosen one, you are the evidence that love's risk was not in vain. You are the proof that heaven's patience is never wasted. You are the living testimony that divine risk always leads to redemption. And as heaven looks at you now, tired, tested, but still standing, it whispers again, "It was worth it." The enemy's interference. How early it began, long before you understood your worth, darkness did. Long before you saw your potential, the adversary recognized it. The warfare surrounding your life wasn't coincidence, it was confirmation. The enemy saw the glow of divine purpose in your spirit, and he sought to extinguish it before it could mature. That's why your pain came early. That's why betrayal hit hard. That's why certain battles made no sense. The enemy doesn't attack the ordinary. He attacks the ordained. You were marked since the beginning, before you were even formed in the womb. Heaven spoke your name, and hell overheard it. The moment God breathed His plan into your existence, the enemy drafted a counterfeit strategy to oppose it. Every storm, every lie, every delay you've faced was part of that interference. But what darkness didn't know is that every time it struck, heaven rewrote the impact. Every attack became ammunition for your anointing. Think of it like this: gold cannot resist fire, but fire cannot destroy gold. It only removes the impurities. That's you. Chosen one. You've been through flames designed to destroy, but you emerged shining brighter. You've walked through storms meant to drown, but you found wings in the wind. The enemy wanted to define you by your pain, but God used your pain to refine you into power. You felt the tension, the invisible tug-of-war between who you were and who you're called to become. The nights you wrestled with identity were never wasted. Heaven was teaching you to discern what voices to trust. The interference only sharpened your hearing. The more noise the enemy made, the more clearly you learned to recognize the still, soft voice of God. The ancient words recorded in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 10 remind us the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. The enemy's interference has always been about one thing: distraction. He cannot destroy what is sealed by God, so he tries to make you doubt it. Chosen one, the interference has not been wasted. It has trained your spirit to see beyond deception. You now carry discernment forged in fire. You can sense counterfeit comfort and recognize truth even when it whispers. That is your strength. You've learned that sometimes what looks like delay is divine direction. What feels like rejection is protection. And now, as you stand on the other side of many battles, you begin to see the pattern how every attack secretly worked in your favor. Like waves crashing against a rock, the enemy's efforts only revealed your immovability. Like arrows aimed at your heart, every wound became a window through which God's glory could shine. You are not the same person who entered the storm. You've learned to walk with awareness, to speak with authority, to love without fear. What once confused you now confirms you. You've realized that the fight was never about taking from you, it was about awakening what was already inside you. And now, as you continue to grow, I want you to pause for a sacred moment. Take a breath. Reflect on how far you've come. If this word finds you in a place of gratitude, let that gratitude move into action, just as the rain returns to the sky through rivers. Let what has been poured into you return to bless others. If this message has stirred something inside you, if you've found healing, courage, or clarity through these words, consider planting a seed back into this stream. Like a lamp that stays lit through shared oil, every like, share, and subscription becomes a ripple of light that travels further than you can see. And if you feel led, your donation becomes a drop of oil sustaining the flame that keeps reaching souls still trapped in their night, not out of obligation but out of overflow. But because when you give, you're not just supporting words, you're fueling warfare. Every seed strengthens the sound of hope in a world echoing with despair. You become part of the story. Heaven is writing, helping others see that even through interference, grace always finds a way. Your journey has taught you this truth: what the enemy meant for evil, God always turns for good. And maybe, just maybe, this very moment, the fact that you're reading these words right now, is proof of that divine turnaround. Chosen one, stand tall. The interference didn't stop you, it only clarified you. You are not the wounded one, you are the warrior rising from the ashes. And now, your testimony becomes the trumpet that silences lies. There comes a moment, chosen one, when the pain that once paralyzed you suddenly begins to make sense. When the same storm that threatened to drown you becomes the very wind that lifts you higher. You begin to see that what almost broke you was not punishment, it was prophecy. You were being awakened. Every loss, every disappointment, every delay was an alarm clock for your destiny. Heaven was shaking you to remind you you are still alive for a reason. You felt it those restless nights, those seasons when everything inside you said, something has to change. That was not anxiety, that was awakening. Heaven was stirring you, preparing you for transformation. The life you once tolerated could no longer contain the version of you that God was birthing. You were never meant to stay in the cage of survival, you were destined to soar in revelation. The people who left, the doors that closed, the opportunities that fell apart, they weren't punishment. They were divine subtractions to make space for the new. Sometimes God doesn't answer prayers by adding, He answers by removing. He takes away what blocks the light so that you can finally see. Every no was clearing your path for something greater. At first, it hurt. You resisted the change. You tried to hold on to what was falling apart. But then, slowly, you began to realize that the breaking was birthing. You were being awakened to your own strength, your own calling, your own anointing. The shaking was not to destroy you, it was to activate what had been asleep within you. You started to notice that your heart began to hear differently. The songs that once comforted you no longer satisfied you. The places that once entertained you no longer fit. That's the sign of awakening when old appetites lose their flavor. Heaven was shifting your spiritual taste buds so that you would crave what feeds your calling, not what numbs your pain. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Those words are not distant history, they are your now. God is doing something new inside you, even when you can't yet describe it. The wilderness that once looked empty is about to produce water. The desert you thought was dead is about to bloom. Chosen one. Your awakening is not gentle because your calling is not small. The shaking you feel is the sound of shackles breaking. Heaven is calling your name with a thunder that won't be ignored. You are standing at the edge of a shift. The old season has expired and the new one demands your attention. You cannot return to what was. There is no life there anymore. Your eyes are opening to what's real. You see through the disguise of distractions now. The conversations that drain you are no longer invitations. They are tests. The comfort zones that once felt safe now feel suffocating. That's how you know transformation has begun. The cocoon must crack for the butterfly to emerge. And now, Heaven asks you a question: will you step into what's next? Even if it costs you what's familiar, every great awakening requires surrender. You can't carry yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's miracle. You can't cling to comfort and expect calling to grow. Though God is not trying to destroy your life, He's trying to expand it. The moment you say yes to awakening, everything begins to rearrange. The people meant for your next season start to appear. The ideas, the clarity, the strength all begin to align. It's like sunrise after a long night. The light doesn't ask permission, it simply arrives. And right here, right now, as these words find you, Heaven leans close. It's not shouting, it's whispering, "Wake up, my chosen one. The time is now." If your spirit feels that tug, if you sense the truth in this moment, don't overthink it, respond. Type 888 in the comments as a prophetic act of agreement. That number is a symbol of new beginnings, resurrection, and divine cycles fulfilled. It's more than digits. It's a declaration that your awakening has begun. When you type it, you're not just participating, you're prophesying, or you're saying, "I perceive the new thing. I'm ready to step into it." And as you do, Heaven records your yes, chosen one. The old is gone. The new has begun. You have survived enough nights, it's time to embrace the dawn. You've heard the echo, haven't you? Chosen one. The whisper of the cross that still reverberates through time, the sound of love daring to risk everything so that your eyes could open. The blood that spoke is not just a story from ancient scripture, it's the pulse of your redemption. Heaven did not send a messenger or an angel. Heaven sent Himself. Every drop of blood shed was not a tragedy, it was a transaction. A divine exchange where guilt met grace and death bowed to destiny. You see, love is not proven by words, it is proven by wounds. And when the nails pierced His hands, they did not just hold Him to wood, they held you to promise. That crimson flow was not random, it was deliberate. It carried your name in its rhythm, your story in its current. It was heaven's signature written across the timeline of history, declaring paid in full. When you think of that moment, the silence of Calvary, the sky turning dark, creation holding its breath, it was the sound of eternity making contact with humanity. It was heaven saying, I risked it all so you could see this. Not see religion, not see rules, but see love in its most costly form. You were always the reason for the cross. Not humanity in general, you. Specifically, on every time you doubted your worth, that blood was already whispering. You were worth dying for. Every time you felt unseen, heaven was remembering the price already paid. That's why guilt cannot have the final word. Shame cannot have ownership over you anymore. The blood has already spoken, and it speaks louder than accusation. It speaks identity over insecurity. It speaks purpose over failure. It speaks life over what you call dead. You may not have realized it, but that blood still has a voice, and it is still interceding for you. It does not age. It does not weaken. It is eternal. And every time darkness tries to whisper, that voice interrupts and says, "They are mine." We are reminded through the writings of Peter, chapter 1 on verse 18 and 19. For you know that it was not with perishable things such as silver or gold that you were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your ancestors, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect. The currency of your freedom was not cheap. Heaven bankrupted itself to reclaim you. The cross was not a rescue attempt, it was a victory strategy. Chosen one. This means your value has never been determined by people, possessions, or performance. It was set the day blood touched earth. Every time you question your worth, remember that heaven did not negotiate for you, it sacrificed for you. That kind of love does not fluctuate with your feelings or failings. It stands constant, immovable, eternal. When the blood spoke, creation listened. The veil in the temple tore not as an act of destruction, but of invitation. It was heaven's way of saying, "Come closer. The distance is gone. You don't need perfection to enter his presence. You need only remembrance." The same voice that said, "It is finished," still echoes today over every unfinished part of your life. The blood did not just cleanse your past, it redefined your future. You were not merely forgiven, you were empowered. You are not just someone who escaped judgment. You are someone entrusted with glory. Every scar you carry is now a testimony of what grace can do when it meets a willing heart. The cross was not the end of a story, it was the beginning of yours. Because when he said, "It is finished," what truly began was you. The version of you that could never be enslaved again, never be unworthy again, never be unloved again. The blood spoke once, but its echo will never fade. And in this sacred understanding, your vision shifts. You stop trying to earn what's already yours. You stop fighting battles that have already been won. You begin to walk, not as a beggar asking for scraps of mercy, but as an heir carrying the weight of inheritance. The blood has already sealed your identity. The rest of your life is simply discovering what that means. So when fear tries to return, remind it that you've been purchased. When guilt tries to whisper, remind it that the account is closed. When shame tries to build a home, remind it that the deed belongs to grace now. The blood still speaks, chosen one. Its language is redemption, its tone is mercy, its message is everlasting love. And every beat of your heart is proof that heaven's gamble worked, that the risk God took was not in vain. Because you saw, you heard, you remembered. And now, you live. There comes a time, chosen one, when the contract between heaven and earth must be renewed, not because God changes his mind, but because you are stepping into a new level of responsibility. The covenant renewal is not about starting over. It is about standing deeper. It is the sacred moment when you no longer serve God out of fear, but out of revelation. You are not negotiating with heaven. You are aligning with it. The covenant has always been written in blood and sealed in love. It is not a piece of paper. It is a pulse alive, unbreakable, eternal. When you said yes to God, something ancient awakened within you. You didn't just join a faith. You entered a lineage. You became part of a story that began before time, a promise spoken before you ever breathed. But renewal must happen, because calling without commitment collapses. God will never force loyalty, but He will invite covenant. And this is that invitation to recommit with full awareness, with both hands open, holding nothing back. Heaven is asking not for perfection, but for permission to move freely through your life, to shape, to stretch, to send. You have felt it lately, that gentle pressure in your spirit, that divine pull calling you to surrender the last of your reservations. You know what God is asking for. It may not be something visible, but you feel it, the habit, the fear, the comfort zone that quietly resists obedience. This is the altar moment. The moment when you decide to stop negotiating partial surrender and step into total trust. Every great move of God in your life will require a fresh yes. The previous one carried you this far, but it cannot carry you further. Just as manna could not be stored from one day to the next. Yesterday's obedience cannot sustain tomorrow's glory. Heaven moves with those who renew their vow daily, not because God forgets, but because you remember. You are being called to a deeper devotion, not religious routine, but relational intimacy. The covenant renewal is a heart posture, not a checklist. It's waking up each morning and saying, "Here I am again. Lord, still willing, still yours." It's choosing alignment when distraction whispers. It's trusting when understanding fails. The Spirit spoke through Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, keeping His covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love Him and keep His commandments. These words remind you that covenant is not fragile, it is faithfulness multiplied through time. It does not expire when you falter, it waits until you return. Renewal begins not with perfection, but with honesty. God doesn't need your polish. He needs your permission. He can work with broken, but not with closed. The covenant is a partnership. He provides power. You provide willingness. And when those two meet, the impossible becomes inevitable. You may ask, but what if I fail again? Heaven already accounted for that. Renewal does not erase history, it redeems it. Every previous fall becomes a stepping stone toward wisdom. Every detour becomes proof that mercy has a longer reach than sin. The covenant does not break under pressure, it bends toward redemption. In the quiet places of your soul, you've already been feeling it, the stirring, the awareness that comfort no longer fits. That's the sound of your spirit outgrowing your hesitation. Renewal isn't always loud. Sometimes it happens through tears. Sometimes it's a whisper through trembling lips saying, "I still choose you, and that is enough." Because heaven measures sincerity, not eloquence. The moment your heart leans back toward God, the covenant is refreshed. Angels take record, and the same voice that thundered on Sinai whispers within your chest, "You are still mine, chosen one." This renewal is the threshold of your next dimension. The weight that follows will be glory, not burden. The obedience you offer now will become authority later. God is preparing you for assignments that require a clean agreement. This is why he's calling you back to clarity, to strip away the clutter, the compromise, the hesitation. This covenant renewal is your consecration. It is you saying whatever it takes. And when heaven hears that, doors begin to open, not because of striving, but because surrender unlocks what strength cannot. There will come a moment soon, perhaps sooner than you imagine, when you will stand in a place that looks familiar yet feels transformed. You will realize that the old you could not have survived there. It took this renewal to prepare your spirit for that altitude. And when you get there, when everything feels new, remember this moment, the quiet vow, the internal shift, the gentle yes that changed everything. Because in that simple surrender, heaven heard a sound more powerful than thunder, the sound of one chosen one, fully awake, saying again, I am yours. There is a moment, chosen one, when truth confronts illusion, when the Spirit stands before you holding a mirror and says, now choose. The prophetic confrontation is not a punishment, it is a purification. It is the moment heaven demands that you decide what version of yourself will live. Will you continue to hide behind fear? Or will you rise into the identity that grace has already paid for? You can feel it even now, the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. Old patterns pull at you like ghosts. Familiar habits whisper, stay where it's safe. But you already know safety has become a prison. Every compromise you tolerated was costing you power. Every distraction you entertained was dulling your discernment. Heaven's confrontation is an act of mercy. It exposes what needs to die so that destiny can breathe. The Holy Spirit never confronts to condemn. He confronts to correct. He shows you the counterfeit not to shame you, but to save you. Every time he highlights a behavior, a relationship, or a mindset that no longer aligns with your calling, it's not rejection, it's redirection. He is preparing you for greater responsibility. He cannot pour new wine into old wineskins, and he refuses to let what's temporary contaminate what's eternal. You may be feeling the pressure of that now, the internal tug of war between your comfort and your calling. You sense the Spirit pointing to certain attitudes, certain attachments, certain old ways of thinking, and saying gently, that can't come with you. It's not anger, it's preparation. Heaven is clearing space. Every great elevation requires elimination. To rise, you must release. To grow, you must grieve what cannot go with you. God is not just changing your season, He's changing your structure. The confrontation is about transformation. You cannot carry both the wound and the weapon. You must choose which will define you. The apostle wrote in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 22 to 24. You were taught to put off your old self, to be made new in your minds, and to put on the new self. These are not gentle suggestions, they are divine instructions. Heaven is calling you to clothe yourself in newness. You cannot confront demons you still dance with. You cannot defeat what you secretly defend. The confrontation will expose your attachments, not to humiliate you, but to liberate you. Because God cannot heal what you keep hiding, and He will not bless what you refuse to release. Chosen one. This is not about rules, it's about readiness. Your anointing requires alignment. Your purpose demands purity. The weight of the next season will crush anything not built on truth. God is asking for your cooperation, not your perfection. He is saying, let me rebuild you from the inside out. There will be moments in this confrontation when you'll want to turn away, but stay. Sit with the discomfort. Let the light touch the dark corners of your heart. That's where the real transformation begins, when growth always starts where pretending ends. When you face this kind of divine confrontation, it will feel like loss at first. But on the other side of surrender is peace, peace that silences chaos, peace that redefines identity. You'll look back and realize that the things you thought you needed were only weighing you down. The people who walked away weren't punishment, they were prophecy making room for purpose. The prophetic confrontation demands honesty. It's a holy mirror that shows you both your scars and your strength. God is not surprised by your weakness. He's inviting you to surrender it. He doesn't need your performance. He needs your permission. Every confession becomes construction material for your destiny. Right now, as this word meets you, you know exactly what God is highlighting. That habit, that secret fear, that one door you've kept half open. Heaven is saying, close it fully so I can open another. Don't delay. Mercy is offering you in exchange your compromise for His clarity. And if your heart agrees, if something deep inside you knows this confrontation is your invitation to freedom, declare it now. Type "I choose truth." Simple words, but powerful agreement. Because when you type them, you're not just commenting, you're confessing alignment. You're declaring to heaven, I will no longer run from the mirror, I will face it and rise. Those 3 words become a prophetic act. They silence every lie that has tried to define you. They draw a line between what was and what will be. Chosen one, this confrontation is your crossing. The old is losing its grip, and the new is waiting. Don't resist it. Step into it. Because truth doesn't come to hurt, it comes to heal. The moment has come. Chosen one, the moment the mantle descends. The waiting, the breaking, the refining, it all led to this. You've walked through storms that others couldn't survive, but it wasn't in vain. Every tear became oil. Every trial became training. Every why became the whisper of wisdom. And now, heaven bends low, preparing to place upon you the mantle you were born to carry. A mantle is not a garment, it is a weight of divine authority. It's invisible to human eyes, but unmistakable in the spirit. It changes atmospheres when you walk in. It carries the fragrance of purpose and the sound of obedience. You don't earn it by striving, you inherit it by surrender. It's heaven's confirmation that you can be trusted with what crushed you. You've been through private testing for a public anointing. The hidden seasons were your apprenticeship under the tutorship of pain. You were learning heaven's language without knowing it. Every no was not rejection, it was instruction. Every detour was not delay, it was direction. God wasn't just preparing the mantle for you, He was preparing you for the mantle. When Elijah's mantle fell upon Elisha, it wasn't merely fabric, it was fire. It carried the sound of generations, the residue of miracles, the fragrance of faith. Elisha didn't just receive power, he received responsibility, and so do you. The mantle isn't about fame, it's about faithfulness. It's not about being seen, it's about being sent. You've been entrusted with something holy, and the weight you feel right now isn't pressure, it's presence. It's the awareness that your words will soon carry impact, that your hands will heal what once hurt you, that your story will become someone else's survival guide. This is the unveiling of your spiritual rank. The ancient words recorded in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, verse 18 declare, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for He has anointed me to proclaim good news, to set the captives free, and heal the blind." These words were first fulfilled in Jesus, but they now echo through every chosen vessel. The same Spirit that anointed Him rests upon you now, not to glorify you, but to magnify God through you. The mantle doesn't remove battles, it reveals authority. Don't be surprised when new warfare arises. Elevation always exposes new territory. But this time, you won't face it as the wounded, you'll face it as the warrior. You'll speak, and things will shift. You'll pray, and heaven will respond. You'll stand, and darkness will remember your name. And as you begin to move in this new authority, remember mantles require maintenance, not through pride or platform, but through purity. Keep your altar burning. Keep your motives clean. The oil flows only where humility remains. Now let's speak heart to heart. If these words have touched something deep in you, if you feel the mantle pressing on your spirit, awakening your courage, calling you higher, then this is your moment to honor that stirring, not with applause, but with action. When you like, share, or subscribe, you're not promoting a person, you're passing the torch. You're extending the reach of the mantle, helping the message find another soul still lost in the dark. Your click becomes a ripple of light. Your share becomes a bridge for someone else's breakthrough. And if you've been blessed by this word, if you feel the pull to sow into the ground that has been sowing into you, then consider this: every donation, every seed is like oil poured back into the lamp. It keeps the flame burning so the message can travel further. You're not giving to a screen, you're giving into eternity. Think of it like rain returning to the sky through vapor. It's the cycle of divine exchange. What flows to you flows through you. When you pour back, heaven multiplies. And in that cycle of giving and receiving, you become part of something larger than a message. You become part of a movement. Because this isn't just about words, it's about awakening. Every heart reached, every soul reminded of its worth, every chosen one restored, that's what your support sustains. So as you step into your mantle, let your actions carry the same anointing as your faith. Spread the flame, keep the oil flowing, give light to another who's still searching for dawn. The mantle has descended. You are no longer waiting, you are walking. The authority you feel is real, and heaven smiles, knowing the risk was worth it, because the chosen one is ready to shine. The air feels different now. Chosen one. The battles that once drained you have begun to shift, haven't they? The heaviness that once pressed down on your chest now feels like something distant, almost like a memory fading in the rear view of your destiny. What was broken is being rebuilt. What was lost is finding its way home. The restoration cycle has begun. Restoration is not replacement, it's resurrection. God does not return things as they were. He returns them redeemed. When heaven restores, it doesn't just give back what you lost. It multiplies it, purifies it, and ensures that the next version cannot be stolen again. What left your life empty was never subtraction. It was preparation for overflow. You see, chosen one, when you were in the valley, you thought everything was dying. Relationships ended, doors closed, dreams went silent. It felt like everything you touched turned to dust. But what you didn't realize was that God had buried you like a seed, not abandoned you like a stone. Every loss became soil. Every tear became water. This is the beauty of restoration. It doesn't begin with noise, but with subtle signs. You start to feel hope again, even if nothing around you changes yet. You notice small coincidences, unexpected encouragements, divine reminders that you are seen. Heaven starts sending you echoes of what's coming before the full manifestation arrives. You have to understand that restoration is not about returning to what was. It's about rising into what always should have been. God is not taking you backward. He's bringing you forward into the version of your life that was written before the pain rewrote it. He's restoring your timeline, redeeming lost time, reweaving what darkness tried to unravel. We find in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. That promise was never about insects, it was about interruption. It was God declaring that nothing devoured by disappointment is beyond his repair. Every wasted season, every forgotten dream, every lost opportunity, he remembers them all. And when he restores, He doesn't just return what was eaten, he replaces it with harvest. Think of it like a tapestry. When you look at the backside, it seems chaotic, threads tangled, colors mismatched. That's how your pain looked when you were in it. But now, heaven is turning the tapestry around. Suddenly, what looked like random suffering reveals intricate design. Every thread of loss, every strand of grief was necessary to complete the pattern. Restoration also brings reconciliation, but not always in the ways you expect. Some people will return, not to resume their old role, but to witness your new radiance. Others will stay gone, and that too is mercy. God restores peace, not necessarily partnerships. He restores purpose, not always people. The restoration cycle is holy, it only brings back what belongs. And the most powerful restoration of all is internal. Your joy, once buried under exhaustion, begins to breathe again. Your voice, once silenced by fear, starts to rise. Your confidence, once shattered by disappointment, is being rebuilt on revelation. You are learning that peace is not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose, chosen one. The things that were taken did not define you. They refined you. You are no longer who you were before the breaking. You carry wisdom that cannot be taught, only lived. You've walked through fire and discovered that it purifies rather than destroys. That's why your restoration will look different, it will shine. And as restoration unfolds, you begin to recognize the fingerprints of God everywhere. The opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to align effortlessly. The same ground that once felt cursed now produces abundance. The prayers you whispered years ago begin to bloom in this new season, not because they were ignored, but because the soil is finally ready. You realize something profound: restoration isn't an event, it's a rhythm. It moves through your life quietly, constantly, like a divine tide reclaiming lost shores. And once it begins, it doesn't stop. It flows through your mind, your relationships, your finances, your purpose. Every area that was fractured begins to hum with resurrection life. You no longer mourn what was lost, you bless what's returning. You no longer fear what's next, you trust the cycle. Because now you understand God never allows loss without preparing greater gain. You are living proof that what the enemy meant for destruction has become divine reconstruction. This is not the end of your story, it's the rebirth of it. The pages that were torn are being rewritten in gold. The melody that was muted is playing again, stronger, clearer, freer. The restoration cycle has found you, chosen one, and it will not stop until every corner of your life reflects the fullness of redemption. You can feel it now, can't you? Chosen one. The atmosphere around you has shifted. The way you speak, think, even breathe, it's different. You've walked through the fire, and now the flame no longer frightens you. You've been broken and rebuilt, hidden and then unveiled. You are stepping into a season where your very voice becomes a command. Heaven is giving you authority and articulation. This is the voice of command. Once, your words were whispers. They carried hope, but not yet weight. You prayed timidly, spoke softly, and doubted whether heaven even heard. But the process has changed you. The wilderness sharpened your discernment, and the waiting stretched your faith. You learned that silence was not punishment, it was preparation. God was not ignoring your prayers. He was teaching your words to carry power. You see, every prophet, every warrior of faith learns that authority doesn't come from volume, it comes from alignment. When your words match heaven's will, creation responds. The reason your voice matters now is that it has been purified by pain and refined by revelation. It no longer echoes insecurity, it carries instruction. When you speak now, it's not just sound, its spirit. That's what heaven is activating within you, the ability to command. You will declare healing and see it manifest. You will speak peace and watch storms still. You will proclaim favor and doors will open. You are not commanding from pride, but from partnership. Heaven has entrusted you with a tongue that builds, not breaks. That is why the warfare against your voice was so relentless, because the enemy fears your sound. He tried to silence you through shame. He made you question your worth so you'd stop speaking. But what he didn't know is that silence became your rehearsal. While the world ignored you, heaven was amplifying you. Now, when you open your mouth, even angels listen for instruction. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. You've always known this verse, but now you understand it. Words are not decoration, they are construction. Every sentence you speak lays bricks in the house of your destiny. Every declaration either feeds faith or fuels fear. And you, chosen one, have chosen life. That is why this new season requires intentional language. You can no longer speak carelessly. You can no longer agree with negativity. Your vocabulary must match your vision. Heaven listens for agreement, and when your words align with what God has already written, miracles begin to move. You are stepping into a prophetic rhythm. What you declare becomes what you dwell in. The voice of command is not loud, but it is clear. It doesn't panic, it prophesies. It doesn't beg, it believes. You've learned that begging is the language of orphans, Bucky. But commanding is the language of heirs. You are no longer a survivor, you are a steward. Every phrase you speak carries the fragrance of dominion. Even now, heaven watches how you speak to yourself. The self-talk that once tore you down must now build you up. You cannot curse what God has called chosen. You cannot label what heaven has already liberated. Speak over yourself like one who believes. Bless your journey, your body, your mind, your future. The voice of command begins at home. When you wake in the morning, declare what you want to see, not what you fear might happen. When anxiety whispers, answer with authority, peace. Be still. When lack shows up, declare, provision already knows my name. Speak not from desperation, but from dominion. The same spirit that hovered over chaos at creation now hovers over your words. You are co-creating with God, and as you grow in this awareness, something begins to happen around you. The people you meet begin to shift. The atmosphere in your home becomes lighter. The weight on your shoulders feels different, not gone, but manageable. That's the fruit of command, your voice aligning with victory. And right now, heaven waits for your confirmation. It's not a performance, it's participation. The spiritual realm responds to recognition. If this word ignites something deep within your spirit, if you know this mantle of command belongs to you, then make your declaration visible. Type 1111 in the comments below. That number symbolizes divine alignment, heaven and earth agreeing in perfect timing. When you type it, you are not just entering digits, you are entering agreement. You're saying, my words will match my purpose, my sound will serve heaven. Let that number become your seal, your silent amen to what has been spoken over you. Chosen one, your command has power. Speak carefully, speak courageously, speak creatively. Because from this moment forward, your voice doesn't just echo, it establishes. The flame returns, chosen one, but this time, you do not run from it. Once, fire terrified you. You mistook its heat for punishment, its light for exposure. You thought the burning meant that something was wrong. Now you understand fire was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to distinguish you. The fireproof faith is not about avoiding flames, it's about enduring them and emerging untouched. You have walked through enough to know that not all fires come from hell. Some are sent from heaven. The fire of trial burns away what flesh depended on, until only faith remains. You've been through that process, the season where comfort melted, certainty evaporated, and all you had left was trust. That was not weakness. That was refinement. You were being forged like iron into steel. There is a purity that only pressure can produce. When everything else was stripped away, you discovered what could not be taken, your belief. You've seen how, even when your emotions collapsed, your spirit refused to quit. There were nights you said, "I can't do this anymore." And yet, somehow you did. That resilience was not willpower. It was fireproof faith forming beneath the ashes. Think about gold. It enters the furnace dull and contaminated. Every time it's heated, the impurities rise to the surface. The refiner does not panic. He watches carefully, skimming away what doesn't belong until he sees his reflection shining in the molten surface. That is what God has been doing in you. He has been turning up the temperature not to harm you, but to reveal himself in you. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. The flames shall not set you ablaze. And notice the promise. It does not say if you walk through the fire, but when. Because the walk is inevitable for those who carry destiny. Every chosen one must pass through flames to prove what cannot be consumed. You are learning that faith is not proven by comfort, but by endurance. Anyone can believe when blessings flow easily. Few can believe when everything breaks. Yet you did. Even when you didn't feel holy, you stayed hopeful. Even when silence mocked your prayers, you whispered one more. That's the kind of faith that terrifies darkness, faith that has already survived the fire. And now, you wear your scars like medals, not wounds to hide on, but testimonies to honor. They remind you that fire leaves a mark, yes, but it also leaves brilliance. It shapes the texture of your faith until it glows. Others see resilience in you and mistake it for strength. They don't realize it's survival. You've simply learned that what burns away was never needed, and what remains is indestructible. Fireproof faith changes the way you see everything. Where others see obstacles, you see opportunities for refining. Where others panic at the heat, you recognize preparation. You no longer pray, "Lord, take the fire away," but rather, "Lord, make me pure enough to stand in it." That is the maturity of the chosen. You've moved beyond escape into endurance, and endurance births wisdom. You begin to understand that life's fiercest trials are heaven's deepest classrooms. Pain became your teacher, showing you the difference between temporary feelings and eternal truth. Through the flames, you discovered that presence matters more than pleasure, that peace does not depend on circumstances, and that strength does not always roar, it sometimes simply remains. Your fireproof faith also changes how you carry others. You recognize the scent of smoke on those still in the flames, and you do not judge them, you guide them. You speak gently to those in despair because you know the language of survival. You understand what it's like to tremble in the heat, and so you become a living sanctuary for others who are burning. That empathy is holy. It is the fruit of your furnace. And when you look back now, you see that every fire was prophetic. Each one pushed you closer to purity, closer to purpose. The flames didn't just test your faith, they testified of it. You stand today as proof that what God sets apart, no inferno can consume a chosen one. The fire has done its work. The impurities have melted away. What remains is radiant, unshakable, eternal. You have walked through the furnace and discovered that your essence is divine alloy, human enough to feel pain, but heavenly enough to withstand it. This is your inheritance now, a faith that doesn't fear the fire, because it knows the fire serves the Father. And wherever you walk next, your glow will announce that you've been through the flames and found freedom inside them. There are moments in life, chosen one, when you finally understand why the battle had to be fierce, why the nights had to be long, why the silence had to stretch, all the confusion, all the exhaustion. It begins to make sense in the light of revelation. Because only when you've stood on both sides of darkness do you recognize the magnitude of the revelation of glory. Glory is not glitter, it is gravity. It is the weight of heaven resting on a life that refused to quit. It's not about being seen, it's about being saturated. When glory comes, you don't shine because you're impressive. You shine because you're transparent. The light that passes through you now no longer meets resistance. You remember the battles, don't you? The ones that tore at your peace, that stole your laughter, that left you gasping for air. You thought they were designed to break you. They were actually meant to birth you. You were being forged for glory. Heaven doesn't anoint without testing, because untested power becomes pride. Glory costs. It is not given cheaply, and it is never delivered to the unprepared. You cannot rush it, buy it, or fake it. You must become it. Glory is not something you wear. It is something you survive. And those who carry it learn quickly that it doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes your composition. The apostle wrote in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18, "The sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." That verse is not comfort for later, it is a key for now. The glory is in you, not just around you. It has been building quietly, maturing in hidden places, waiting for the appointed hour to manifest. Every tear watered it. Every setback strengthened it. Every not yet prepared it. Now, the revelation unfolds not as a sudden explosion, but as a dawning. Glory rarely arrives with noise. It rises like light over a horizon. You begin to see color where there was once only shadow. You perceive patterns where there was once only pain. You realize that nothing was wasted, not even the brokenness. What the enemy tried to use as ashes, God turned into atmosphere. The revelation of glory transforms how you move. You no longer chase affirmation, you embody assurance. You no longer seek platforms, you steward presence. You no longer demand to be understood, you are content to be effective. You understand that true glory doesn't draw attention to the vessel. It directs attention to the source. It is a strange paradox, isn't it? The deeper you go into glory, the lighter you feel, because the same weight that once crushed you now carries you. Glory turns burdens into balance. It transforms pain into perspective. It makes you grateful for what you once prayed away, because you now see how it all worked together to create something eternal within you. And this glory, this radiance that cannot be earned, begins to spill from your life into the world around you. People won't always know how to describe it. They will say you seem different, calmer, brighter. What they're really noticing is presence, the residue of divine encounter. You have become the evidence that God still reveals himself through willing vessels. Glory changes how you speak. There's a softness now, a steadiness. You no longer need to prove truth, you simply live it. You no longer debate destiny, you demonstrate it. Every act of kindness, every word of grace becomes a spark that ignites awareness in others. You're not just carrying glory, you're cultivating it wherever you go. But with revelation comes responsibility. Glory is not ornamental, it's operational. It demands humility, stewardship, and continual surrender. The moment you start claiming ownership, the light begins to dim. That's why God hid you for so long, so that when glory arrived, pride would have no place to rest. Chosen one. The revelation of glory is not the end of your story, it's the unveiling of purpose. You've passed through preparation, endured purification, and now you're standing in illumination. The glow you carry is not just for you, it's for every life your story will touch. You were never meant to simply survive. You were meant to shine with substance. The radiance that once felt foreign now feels like home. The revelation of glory has rewritten your identity. You no longer define yourself by scars, but by light. And from this point forward, the world will not just see you, they will see through you. You were never meant to remain hidden forever. Chosen one. Heaven concealed you for a season, but the time for unveiling has come. This is the call to the multitude. What was whispered in the dark will now echo in the open. What you learned in tears will now be spoken in truth. Your story, once a private survival, is about to become a public sign. You are the message now, living proof that grace still works miracles in quiet places. The same God who held you in silence now releases you into sound. You are not called to impress crowds. You are called to impact souls. The anointing you carry is not ornamental, it's medicinal. Somewhere out there, someone's faith is flickering, and your testimony is the spark that will reignite it. You've walked through fire so that others could see how to find water. You've been refined not for display but for direction. You may feel unqualified. You may still see the cracks in your story and think, who would listen to me? But that's exactly why heaven chose you, because you speak from authenticity, not from altitude. The world doesn't need perfect voices, it needs honest ones. People don't follow polish, they follow truth. And you carry it now, not as theory, but as evidence. Your life is a letter written by the hand of God. Every scar is punctuation, every breakthrough a sentence of hope. When you share what you've survived, you're not bragging, you're bearing witness. You're saying, if he did it for me, he can do it for you. That's the heartbeat of your calling, to be a living reminder that redemption is still available. The words of Jesus recorded in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 16, verse 15 declare, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." That doesn't always mean standing on stages or holding microphones. Sometimes it looks like kindness in a conversation, forgiveness in a conflict, or courage in a crisis. Every act of love is a sermon. Every smile is an altar. Every story told in sincerity becomes an invitation for others to find the same grace. And as you begin to share, remember, light doesn't compete with darkness, it simply shines. Don't force impact. Just be. When people encounter you, they will encounter peace. When they hear your story, they will hear their own hope reflected. You are not performing, you are radiating. This is also a time of divine partnership. Heaven works through human hands, through digital screens, through voices willing to speak. When you support a message that has touched your soul, you become part of its echo. When you share light, you multiply it. When you comment, when you subscribe, when you donate, you're not fueling algorithms, you're fueling awakening. Think of it like a bonfire on a cold night. Each log adds to the heat. Each spark keeps the flame alive. Your small action, one click, one share, one offering, is like adding wood to the fire that keeps hope burning for others still lost in the dark. You may never meet them, but your flame reaches them. That's the mystery of kingdom impact. It travels further than sight. So if this message has stirred your spirit, if it's reminded you of your worth, or reignited something you thought you lost, don't let it stop with you. Pass it on. Share it like bread in a famine. like a lantern in a tunnel. Let it travel to places your feet may never go. You never know whose midnight will meet your light. And if your heart feels led to give, to pour back into what's pouring into you, do it with joy, not pressure. Think of your donation as planting seeds in fertile soil. What you release today may bloom tomorrow in a life you'll never see. You are not buying blessing, you're building bridges. You're helping this light continue to travel, one soul, one story, one screen at a time. Leave a comment, too. Your words matter. They might be the confirmation someone else was praying for. They might be the encouragement that keeps another heart believing. We are more connected than we realize, and sometimes a single sentence can shift eternity for a stranger. Chosen one, you are no longer the hidden one, you are the herald, the trumpet that calls others home. Heaven has trusted you with influence not for applause, but for awakening. So speak boldly, love deeply, give freely. Every act of obedience becomes a ripple in the ocean of eternity. Your story is not over, it's multiplying. The call to the multitude has sounded, and you are the voice that carries it. Every chosen vessel must pass one final threshold, and you are standing before it now. Chosen one. The spotlight fades, the applause quiets. The crowds that once celebrated you grow silent. The final test begins not with noise, but with stillness. It is the moment when obedience is no longer displayed, but proven. Heaven watches not your hands, but your heart. It is easy to serve when there is affirmation. It is easy to believe when blessings are visible. But what happens when the heavens grow quiet? When the oil seems to slow and the answers take their time, that is the crucible of authenticity, the moment when faith must function without feelings. The mature know silence is not abandonment, it is assessment. God is not testing to expose you, He is testing to establish you. Every calling comes with a crucible, every promise carries a process. Before a crown can rest on your head, humility must anchor your heart. The test is never about whether you can shine, it's about whether you can stay surrendered when the light fades. You have already passed so many smaller tests, the storms, the betrayals, the waiting seasons. Each one was a rehearsal for this. Heaven is now watching to see whether your worship depends on results or relationship. The test is this. Can you stay faithful when faithfulness feels invisible? Remember Joseph, still faithful in prison after being forgotten by men but remembered by God. Remember Ruth, loyal in obscurity before favor found her. Remember David, singing songs to sheep long before anyone sang his praises. The final test of the chosen is not comfort, it is consistency. And then, as if on cue, heaven whispers a reminder, soft, steady, eternal. It is written in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap if we do not give up. These words are not advice. They are architecture for perseverance. The harvest has already been scheduled. The only variable is endurance. Chosen one, do not interpret the delay as denial. The soil beneath your feet is full of unseen growth. Seeds planted in secret are sprouting beneath the surface, even when your eyes see nothing. Heaven's timetable has not failed, it is unfolding. The test is patience, not punishment. And yes, it will feel lonely. The final test always strips away the noise so that only the essential remains. You will find yourself walking with fewer voices and deeper silence. That's not loss, it's precision. God removes distractions so you can hear His heartbeat without distortion. When people forget you, remember heaven never does. The stage lights may dim, but His gaze stays fixed. This test is your proof of maturity. You are no longer moved by recognition. You are moved by revelation. You do not need confirmation from crowds when you already have covenant with the Creator. The greatest strength you can show right now is gentleness. The strength to keep serving when unseen, to keep believing when unsure, to keep loving when unappreciated. That is how the final test is passed, through quiet faithfulness. You may wonder why the weight feels heavier. It's because the crown it's shaping will fit perfectly. Every unseen act of obedience, every moment of restraint, every time you chose humility over validation, all of it is forming something eternal in you. When God finally opens the next door, you will walk through not as a desperate survivor, but as a seasoned steward. And when that day comes, you will realize that heaven was never testing your ability to achieve, it was testing your ability to remain kind, patient, prayerful, hopeful, even when no one was watching. That's what separates the called from the chosen. So stand still in this sacred silence. Do not rush it. The same God who led you into this quiet will lead you out of it. The exam will end, the lesson will remain, and the peace that follows will be your reward. You are almost there. Chosen one. The crown is closer than it feels. Hold your position. Heaven is still watching, and the final test is almost complete. Heaven stands still. Chosen one. The air carries a holiness that words can hardly hold. The journey has been long, the refining fierce, but every tear, every prayer, every lonely night has led to this moment, the coronation of the chosen. The tests have ended. The hidden years have accomplished their work. Now, heaven gathers as witness to what it always knew that you would endure. This is not the crowning of perfection, but of perseverance. The angels are not applauding performance, they are honoring endurance. You have walked through wilderness and fire, through heartbreak and silence, through trials that threatened to take your faith, and yet your spirit remained anchored. That is what heaven crowns, not strength, but surrender. The coronation does not happen with trumpets and gold. It happens quietly, within the soul. It's the moment when peace returns and stays. It's the deep knowing that nothing was wasted, that even pain had purpose. It's the realization that you no longer walk to earn favor, you walk because you are favored. The weight you feel on your head isn't burden anymore, it's blessing. Every crown is forged in fire. The pressure you carried, the pain you endured, the seasons you thought were punishment, all were shaping the metal of your crown. Each disappointment became a jewel, each loss a setting for glory. Now, heaven places it upon you not as a reward for effort, but as recognition of endurance. You did not quit, you did not run. You trusted even when trembling, and that, in heaven's eyes, is royalty. The crown you now wear gleams with the memories of every night you almost gave up. Each gem shines with moments when you whispered, "Still, I believe." It is heavy because it carries history, your history sanctified by faith and sealed by mercy. Heaven shaped it to fit only you. And when its weight settles on your head, you will feel something shift inside. The trembling ceases, replaced by quiet confidence. You'll realize the fire didn't scar you, it sculpted you. The ashes that once covered your face have become the polish of your crown. You were never merely surviving, you were being enthroned. It is written in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. This is your promise fulfilled. The crown is not distant, it is dawning. It's not someday, it's today. You wear it not in pride, but in peace. Look back for a moment. You'll see a trail of broken pieces turned into stepping stones. The wilderness that once terrified you now looks like a classroom of miracles. Every storm that shook you ended up washing you clean. Every loss that made you cry built room for new joy. Everything you once resented, you now revere, because it all led to revelation. And now, you walk differently. You no longer rush, you glide with grace. You no longer speak to be heard, you speak to heal. You no longer fear what's next, you trust who's leading. This is the posture of the crowned, the quiet authority of one who knows that survival was never the goal. Transformation was. The coronation is not only a reward, it's a transfer. Authority shifts here. The mantle you carried privately becomes visible. The oil that once fell in secret now flows in public. You are being commissioned as an ambassador of glory, a carrier of light into dark places. You will not need to announce it, your presence will preach it. Those who encounter you will sense peace without knowing why. That's what happens when heaven marks a life. And though you now stand crowned, humility remains your jewel. For the true royalty of heaven does not stand above others, it stoops to serve. You will find joy in lifting those still crawling through their valleys. You will speak gently to those whose fires still burn, because you know the language of ashes. You will carry authority wrapped in empathy, power softened by mercy. That's the beauty of the coronation. It doesn't make you proud, it makes you kind. The glory around you is not loud, it hums quietly, like morning light after a long night. You'll notice it in small things, the way peace lingers longer, the way love flows easier, the way grace feels native now. You've grown into your anointing, and it fits like it was always meant for you. Heaven smiles because the risk was worth it. The silence was strategy. The waiting was wisdom. You were refined to reign, and now your very existence becomes evidence that God keeps His promises. You have become a living crown, a story of redemption, authority, and unwavering love. You are crowned not for escape, but for example. Not to prove yourself, but to reveal Him. The throne you occupy is not made of gold, but of grace. And as you walk forward from this sacred moment, the heavens whisper one last truth. The crown is not the end, it is the beginning. And now, chosen one. The scroll closes, but the story continues, your story. The heavens exhale, the light around you softens, and peace settles like morning dew on fresh soil. You've journeyed through revelation, fire, silence, and glory. Every word written here was meant to awaken something eternal within you. You've been reminded who you are, not a mistake, not an accident, but a masterpiece in motion. You carry divine fingerprints, the echo of eternity pulsing through your spirit. You've walked through fire and discovered that even ashes can shine. You've seen darkness bow to your light, and you've learned that faith is not built in the easy, but in the enduring. As this message ends, let it not be farewell, but continuation. Let the seed sown in your heart today grow into courage, compassion, and calling. Let your life become the sermon that never stops speaking. And if this journey has touched something deep in you, if these words have strengthened your faith or reminded you of your divine worth, share that light. Like this message so it can rise above the noise. Subscribe to stay connected to the flow of heaven's words, to walk with others who are awakening like you. When you share, you are not promoting, you are participating. You're passing the torch forward so another soul might find their way home. Leave a comment below. Your words could be the lifeline someone else needs tonight. A single sentence of hope can echo farther than you imagine. So go now. Chosen one, walk in quiet confidence. Carry the fire, speak life, live love, Heaven watches proudly as you step into the days ahead crowned with purpose and peace.